Welcome back to a series so epic, even Hornet subscribed. In today's video, Hassan is denying trying to dox a bunch of people on his stream. A bunch of people are responding, calling him out. Attorney Legal Mindset talks about the potential laws he violated in California, the associated prison time, as well as Twitch's liability. Ethan and Hutch are calling out Hassan for blatantly lying about them and engaging in baseless slander. Subscribe, or you gotta become a permanent Hassan Piker moderator. You're cooked. Let him know, Jamborino.
Let's up those numbers!
Now let's begin with Hassan's doxing scandal. Basically, quick recap, Hassan recently showed the doxes of a bunch of people on his stream. Since then, a bunch of people have called him out. Here's Hassan 2 days ago watching a bad empanada vid on stream that alleges I was a paid through Progressive History PAC to do Zionist propaganda and make Destiny look good. Completely fabricated claim based on nothing. Am I surprised Hassan would do this? Absolutely not. He agreed with and expanded on these claims to his audience. So a chatter brings it up and asks him if he did so, and he completely denies it. Hassan responds to the doxing allegations, pretends he doesn't know who Dylan Burns is.
Wait, someone just said, what is this? This guy just got banned. Wait, hold on. What the fuck? Someone just said I doxed. I streamed the address of Dylan Burns. Just said you streamed his addy. Is that true? Why the fuck would that be true? Do you think I know who the fuck Dylan Burns is or what he does, let alone find his address and then stream it? What are these people saying, bro? Dylan Distance, that's my address, buddy. Are we just fucking, you still haven't denied it? What the fuck? Are people just like, they've decided to just like make new and unique and creative things up? Is that what's going on?
It just didn't happen, guys. What are you even talking about? You know, another classic from the Hassan Piker playbook, just pretend it didn't happen. You know, deny reality right in front of your face. And if a chatter calls you out, you know, just make fun of them and then ban them. Obviously, in the Hassan Piker streams, no discourse is actually allowed. So people immediately called him out. Do you think I know who the F Dylan Burns is? Interesting, because here's a clip directly from the doxing stream of him referring to him directly. He forgot he called him a friend of Destiny in less than a week?
Yeah. Dylan Burns, Hunter Avalon, Hutch, Destiny's own personal chef. Like, this is what happened. This is what took place. Okay. And the pack actually did unironically raise a bunch of money off of like people who thought that they were giving money to a political action committee that was going to go around and you know, do door knocking campus operations, which they did.
But it didn't happen, guys. I have no idea who that even is. I just refer to him directly and definitely know of him and talked about him in the past. In fact, the only reason I'm showing these docs is because I don't like these people, of course. But again, I don't know him. I selectively removed him from my memory, actually, so that I could continue to believe my delusional lies. What a ridiculous person, bro. There's just no way he's this stupid. It has to be on purpose. Hassan spent a stream seething about Dylan when he had a group of Ukrainians currently surviving a genocide responding to his pro-genocide streams. Hassan, do something bad. Pretend it never happened. Deflect with self-importance or other issue every time. Anyways, he responded again. Hassan responds saying it's a nothing burger and the creators involved are just trying to farm clout. Also, keep in mind, in this clip, he's once again promoting the psycho freak named Gato that got exposed for being like an unemployed loser.
Just uses an opportunity to try to once again implement this like fake deplatforming, stupid deplatforming initiative, claiming that I was actually doxing people. Looking at FEC filings, myself included, for because I have looked at my own FEC filings as well on this broadcast, which is publicly available data that actually doesn't show the full identity or the full fucking addresses of people, is not doxing. It's never been doxing. A big part of this broadcast is revolves around going on Open Secrets, which is the website that Bad Empanada was using. Ironically enough, these guys aren't even mad at Bad Empanada for making the video, but more so mad at me, which for not only responding to the video, but also adding additional information about this organization that I knew about. Now, of course, that probably allows you to understand that this is not really a sincere fear that people have about doxing or whatever, but instead it's just to use as an opportunity to fucking farm some drama and clout.
Yes, of course. Any criticism at me is all about drama, guys. Also, he says that I looked at my own details online, therefore it's not doxing. I mean, of course, if you chose to share it, then and you bring it up on your stream, of course, you're not gonna care. It doesn't mean that other people signed up for their stuff to be shown to your unhinged audience. Also, the copium here, like, oh yeah, it's only a partial dox, guys. I didn't put their mom's and grandmom's address in there. Now, we'll actually see later the legal analysis here, and it does actually seem to qualify as doxing, even though this information is public. But the fact of the matter is, Hassan knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. He knows exactly what's gonna happen if he tries to show this info in this sort of context. It's completely malicious and meant to, you know, be a sort of deterrent or a harassment. The fact he wasn't banned for this is the biggest black pill for anyone on Twitch. It's not surprising, but it is what it is. So under Hassan's logic, posting publicly available information in Hassan's whereabouts would not be doxing then? Not bannable if done on Twitch and X? Is he really so blind that he can't see where that line of logic goes down? Obviously, rules do not apply to Hassan. We already know this. Anyways, one of the people he was talking about responded, Dylan Burns. Hassan referenced me by name during his stream and has accused me of being a war tourist before. Don't know why he's pretending not to know my name. He showed my 9-digit zip code, not 5-digit, on stream, which showed the street I live on. Full document has my entire home address. Yeah, I don't know about you guys. If you can find the exact like street somebody lives on, I feel like that would qualify as doxing. And you know, under the law, it does, especially in California. But again, we'll get to that in a bit. Ethan responds, Hassan 100% knows who Dylan Burns is. He called him a war pervert for actually going to Ukraine to report from the front line. Didn't just think about. Oh, so you're telling me he actually did what Hassan has been talking about all this time about, you know, like going to the actual place, like going to Gaza. But then he bitched out, of course.
Dude, I might actually take Marsh with me to Gaza.
Gaza?
Yeah.
Is it dangerous?
Yes. I unfortunately most likely will not be able to go. The people that I did talk to said that they could not give me security assurances, have some conviction.
And this other person is actually doing that on the ground journalism. He hates him because he's pro-Ukraine and criticized Hassan's awful coverage of that war. Okay, well that makes sense then. So Hassan doxed him. He let a bad empanada video play that displayed Dylan's and other personal info, then walks off screen so he has plausible deniability. Oh yeah, that was another instance of chair react from Hassan, you know? One of the other people who got doxed responded, what a ridiculous, very easily disprovable lie. There is no honest way to try and claim that Bad Empanada wasn't doxing us. He posted personal information of several creators, then accuses us of being paid to do Israeli propaganda, classic. The point was to maliciously lie about us and mobilize people to harass us, which happened. Moving on to attorney legal mindset, talking about Hassan's doxing and which laws he might have violated. So he starts by talking about how the victims are put in danger here.
What happened? This is what took place.
All their names, their city, their state, their zip code, right? He's putting out all their personal information here on the internet. And the problem with that is when you have 30,000, 20,000, 40,000 people watching live, and then the replays get a bunch, they get replayed everywhere, people react to them. So we're looking at potentially millions of eyeballs on this information. You're putting those people in a position where anybody who doesn't like them, right, in this civil war that's going on what might be called the online left, not that the political affiliations matter because they're completely irrelevant, because these people's information is now out there. They're putting it out in a way where any enemy, any person who hates them, whatever, that sees that is incentivized to go out there and take some sort of action, especially knowing that things like this have happened in the past. For example, with Hunter Avalon, who's on that list, has had an incident in the past where he was almost killed with the crazy ex who came and shot his girlfriend, that whole situation. So you've got, a history here where this can happen when information is put out there and you're putting these people at risk. This is something that a reasonable person whose information is put that on the internet in front of hundreds of thousands of people, potentially millions, is going to be afraid of.
I mean, of course, if Hassan Piker is showing your docs to his loony audience while actively portraying you as this bad guy, then of course the average person is going to fear for their safety. He also thinks these people are like paid to not talk about Gaza or are doing some Zionist propaganda, and that is like the greatest sin in their community, obviously. So Hassan knows what he's doing, and he's trying to absolve himself of all responsibility. You know, he always has the plausible deniability of, I didn't actually make the tweet, guys. It was Bad Empanada, you know, the guy who I agree is a literal psycho, and the guy who I literally said that I'd stop platforming him for that reason, but anyways refused to do so and continue doing it over and over and over again, especially when he goes after my enemies. Like, it's just malicious at that point. There's no two ways around it. Then he talks about California law, and everybody knows that Hassan violates Twitch TOS, but he might have actually broken the law, and he could potentially get jail time for this if they actually investigate this.
Right. We're going to talk about the two California laws that this clearly would fall within the scope of if law enforcement decide to actually look at this and take this seriously. The first one is electronic harassment. That's under 153.2 of the California Penal Code. And that one reads, every person with intent to place another person in reasonable fear for his safety or the safety of their family by means of electronic communication and without consent, of course, these people didn't consent, and for the purpose of imminently causing the other person unwanted contact, injury, harassment by a third party, and they electronically distribute, publish emails, link, hyperlinks, or make available personal identifying information. With electronic harassment, it doesn't in this statute anywhere say that the information has to be quote unquote private or secret or confidential. No, even public information that contains that identifiable information, the name, the address, the state, the city, all that stuff where someone could come and find them and harass them and would incentivize people. And we know there are unhinged people. We see it every day, particularly in the United States, guys. We see it all the time where people are just going to people's houses, attacking them, doing crazy things, unhinged things, illegal things. And it's very likely to incentivize that unlawful action.
Well, there we have one charge right there. Electronic harassment, spreading the docs and incentivizing this unlawful action. Now, I've been saying this for a while. One day, one of Hassan's crazy lunatic fans is going to do something absolutely heinous. And then Hassan will pretend that he plays no part in this. You know, I disavow this person, but also I'm doing everything possible to make that a possibility, right? I feel like it's just disgusting. And at this point, this guy definitely does not deserve a space in the, you know, creator environment, right? He's just not responsible with it. Then Legal Mindset talks about the criteria under which this is applicable.
And the only criteria here is whether it seriously alarms, annoys, torments, or terrorizes a reasonable person. And let's be honest, if any of you out there at home had your address and home showed on a stream with 50,000, 100,000 people that were, you know, maybe 500,000 that are going to watch that video, yeah, I'm sure you would be at least annoyed, right? Seriously annoyed. So it would meet that standard. The other thing is there's no legitimate purpose to his doxing. Look, this is not to have some sort of fundraiser. This is not, you know, a business saying, hey, go buy from them or whatever else. This is somebody's personal address at home, right? So there's no good reason why you need to be giving out that information. And, you know, look, the penalty is not crazy. It's 1 year in jail. It's not a life sentence, but there is a consequence for this action. And this could stack with multiple people. Yes, that could stack up.
Yeah, I mean, the criteria absolutely apply here. There was no valid reason to show all of that information. And I mean, absolutely anyone would be scared if this happened to them. And I think everybody knows that Bad Empanada did not show this information for innocent reasons. This is literally for people to go and harm them. Hassan is just aiding him by spreading the message here, trying to get it out to as many eyeballs as possible. You know, making sure that everybody knows that these are the bad guys. These are the Zionist shills, guys. And the funniest part about all of this is that most of the people he's talking about are literally pro-Palestine. They're like critical of Israel and everything. So this is another Ethan Klein case all over again, where you just disagree with them 1%, right? With these radical freaks, and they try to ruin your entire life. Then he talks about the second law he might have violated, and this one is involving cyber stalking.
The other statute is number 646.9. This is a California Penal Code. And this is when any person willfully, maliciously, or repeatedly follows or willfully, maliciously harasses another person and who makes a credible threat with intent to place that person in reasonable fear or the safety of their family. And that's once again punishable by the same penalty. So to harass, once again, means to seriously alarm, annoy, torment, or terrorize, right, through your conduct. Those people. There's no legit purpose for this. And you don't need to prove under these statutes, a cyber stalking statute, or rather the stalking statute that has a cyber element, it does not require you to prove that they're actually harmed, just that you are causing them fear. And I think, once again, a reasonable person would be in fear after hearing this under California law. So, you could stack up those two charges. Look at that. Just those two charges from one person. Well, it's up to 2 years there and a fine. I mean, that's pretty serious.
Yeah, Hassan is really pushing it with all of this unhinged shit that he does. Like, slandering a bunch of people is bad already, but it's fine and dandy for Hassan because nobody wants to deal with the headache of actually suing him and his millions of dollars in legal defenses. It's just never going to go anywhere unless somebody gets particularly pissed, of course. But when you start blatantly violating laws like this, that's where it starts to get a little bit too real. I mean, you're looking at potential jail time here. Now, it isn't very long or whatever, but 1 year, 2 years, that could stack up pretty quickly. And I don't think anybody wants to experience that. In fact, if Hassan was kept 1 week away from his Twitch chat, he would legitimately go insane. It would be like solitary confinement for him. He's just that addicted to his stream. And I feel like he's getting a little too comfortable now. He's been effing around a little too much, and I can't wait for the find out phase, man, when you finally get the consequences of your own actions, And the funniest part about all of this is that this is one of the laws he's violated is involving cyber stalking, and that is something he constantly calls out other people for. So the Yeet account, which is just a Twitter account which posts like his own clips, he's like, oh yeah, that's a cyber stalker. These guys are just stalking me right now. Like, no, you're the one actually doing this shit, bro. Posting your clips does not qualify as stalking you. Then he talks about Twitch's liability.
Now let's look at Twitch's liability. So Twitch, at this point, we heard Hutch say he's informed Twitch. And I'm sure there's other people that have. So at this point, Twitch knows. Twitch cannot say they don't know. Dan Clancy cannot say, I was unaware of this. I didn't know this was happening. And at this point, under their own policy, which very much describes doxing as showing the real name, contact information, social security number, and home address. So you've got the three: real name, contact, home address. You've got that information out there that he's putting out there that's clearly doxing. Doxing of any kind is prohibited under Twitch's community guidelines, even if the perpetrators only expose information available via public record. So you see right there, it doesn't matter if the PII was public. If it's released without consent, file a report, we'll investigate and enforce against the doxer if appropriate. So they're choosing to say that his behavior is okay. And what I'm saying here is they've been informed, they've been alerted, they allow this. At this point, they're allowing it repeatedly. It's not just a one-time thing. I've talked about this before. This has gone again and again. It's a clear violation of the terms of service. It's openly disregarded due to bias. And at this point, it's not speculative at all.
Okay, I gotta make one correction here. Dan Clancy can in fact say that he was unaware of this situation. You see, he was simply mid-terminal goon sesh. Now, as an expert lawyer myself, that is a perfectly valid legal defense, actually. Your Honor, I was simply gooning to Hassan Piker. I didn't have time to go over the reports of doxing here. How could I have enabled the doxing when I was enabling my PP? Your Honor, I rest my case. I mean, do you need to hear more? Case dismissed. Once again, gooning Lord Dan Clancy gets away with it. Now, but honestly, how can you be like this? All right, how can you see this man do this so consistently over and over again and just not give a single shit? You gotta be evil, or my alternate theory of obsessed, of course. I guess he's gonna keep the happy birthday message private this time. Can't be having that PR going around, of course.
There's a bias here. They've got Hassan as the golden boy. We get it. He obviously gets a slap on the wrist when everybody else would get a permanent ban or a very, very, very long-term ban for the exact same conduct. This opens the door to future escalation to situations like what happened to Hunter Avalon, unfortunately, right? No one wants these things to happen. Of course, if there was a situation where somebody unfortunately had an incident where there's an assault, a battery, even, like I said, an attempted murder, right? These things can all happen. If this happens, Twitch will then have blood on its hands because they have known this stuff could happen. They have known these situations can happen, and they have ignored that. When a third party takes action based on what Hassan is doing or based on what any other content creator on Twitch is doing, that can come back to them. That can absolutely come back to them, and it will. And it's playing with fire. It's absolutely dangerous. It's reckless. And at this point, it's willful. It's willful. They know what they're doing, and they're choosing willfully to ignore it.
Oh, obviously, they know what they're doing. I mean, at this point, everyone is predicting that something horrible is going to happen, and people are going to tie it back to Hassan and Twitch, and they are going to get completely screwed. Now, everyone is warning them over and over again, and they just don't seem to listen. They are definitely aware of everything going on right now, and it just seems like they willingly choose to ignore it, right? Because even after so many creators speaking up, nothing is actually happening. And let me explain this to you. Twitch doesn't even care, to be honest, if they bleed money, because they operate as a loss leader for Amazon, right? Which means, you know, they constantly bleed money, but it doesn't really make a difference to them. It's gonna take this massive cultural shift before anything actually happens. At this point, Twitch is like the parents of a murderous psychopath, constantly burying bodies in the backyard for their misunderstood sweet angel. Actually, good description. You're either with me or against me mentality really sets them off to be this violent, both verbally and at times physically. It's worse in Dylan's case because he's a war journalist who was on the front lines in Ukraine. There are people in the Kremlin who want him gone. Yeah, but you don't understand. Hassan doesn't even know who this person is. They just, you know, he just has had open discourse with this person in the past and conveniently disagrees with them on a lot of things. Moving on to Ethan and Hutch exposing Hassan for complete baseless slander. So quick context, there's this thing called Progressive Victory, which is like a political thing that is left-leaning and tries to convert these online sort of audiences into, you know, real-world organizing and real-world votes and stuff. So Hutch and a bunch of other left-leaning creators were a part of this, and Hassan and Bad Empanada calls them all Zionists for it based on nothing pretty much.
We're talking about this video first that Bad Empanada made called Zionist Slop Tubers Are All Paid. I don't understand why they're talking to you. I mean, none of you guys are really pro-Israel, so what's the only commonality is really that you all kind of don't like Hassan. So what did you do with Progressive Victory?
It's basically just a pact to promote progressive policies and candidates all over the country. The idea that Progressive Victory was some Zionist entity, it just crumbles when you point to a couple different things.
Right.
They approached Hassan to work with him. Why are they doing that? Frogan helped them organize an event to get out the vote
Zionists,
for something. Emma Vigeland, Ryan Grimm, Vosh,
Zionists,
none of these people.
Mossad
Right,
operatives.
Yeah. So either Hassan is lying, or he's accusing all of his friends or whoever else of working with a Zionist pack. Like, you can only have one of those two things.
Did you say Hassan is lying? No way, guys. Hassan is lying again. What are we at? Line number 69, 69, 99? Bro might actually hold the world record at this point, and I love how it's people that barely disagree with him every time. These are literally all lefties trying to make your side win. Lefties trying to further your agenda, except for the one little thing you may disagree on. Probably the extent of your terrorist support, I imagine. These are people who are pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, and still Hassan wants to dox them, slander them, and ruin their lives. I mean, you just can't make this shit up, bruh. Also, a reminder, being labeled as like Zionist is worse than being labeled as a PDF file in Hassan's community. They probably accept a PDF file as long as you're, pro-Palestine or something. That's literally how they operate. So they continue and react to a clip of Hassan's casual slander.
Like, one of the examples I give you is a Progressive Victory, right? They approached me a million fucking times. But because they were like aligned and affiliated with Destiny, and because they were like being run by Brianna Wu, I was like, I'm not touching that shit. And there's some nice people that work there, some people who are truly ambitious. But what it turned into was a fucking slush fund for Destiny's best friends.
Now that right there seems pretty insane, right?
That's a really serious thing, like, to accuse someone of doing. Like, he's basically accusing me and everyone that was involved with this pack of defrauding people who donated money to it. Right. He's accusing us of, I guess, not doing any work. Like, the other thing to point out here, which is, really crucial to understanding why this is so insane, was that Destiny was not a formal part of this pack. He did not fund the pack. He did not fund the creators. They collaborated with him, I think, 2 times for canvassing events. But like I said a moment ago, they also collaborated with Vosh and Emma Vigeland and Ryan Grimm. But
Right.
I mean, just the casual nature of accusing all of us of defrauding donors and just like taking money corruptly. I can't believe like people just throw that out there so flippantly. Like I was pretty shocked when I saw him say that. Because there's just nothing that you can point to at all to justify that claim. Like nothing.
Really? You were shocked? I feel like these people really live under a rock. I mean, this person's in the political space as well, so you should, very much know of Hassan. And the truth is, he did not just become like this. He has been like this for years and years. The only reason some of these people couldn't see it is because they ignored all of his extreme radical behavior because they're blinded by politics. If you're on the same side of politics, it feels like, oh goody, I get along with this person, when in reality, there's obviously much more nuance to that. And obviously now it's gotten too much for them. It's just a classic. I mean, W for actually seeing the light now, but actually being shocked at this is just embarrassing. This is very predictable, honestly. Like Hassan has done this multiple times before. He routinely lies about people over and over and over again. And it seems like people don't care unless it's actually done to them. Like, I want to know, were these people speaking out in defense of like Asmongold or something? Or, do they just not care? And Hassan is just like that. The second you're not useful or you even deviate slightly from him, he will eat you alive. His whole community will eat you alive. It is not worth associating with these freaks. Then they talk about even more lies he spread.
And even though it includes almost everybody he knows, he's still somehow able to deploy Destiny as this omnipresent boogeyman that explains that all of Destiny's friends are being paid by a slush fund.
This is what they do. Like when that crowd identifies you as an enemy for deviating even just 1% from their orthodoxy, they will call you a Zionist and they will call you a Destiny orbiter, even though I have not spoken to Destiny since January. And they took it even further. I mean, he was claiming that they were paying us to be, silent on Gaza. There's nothing to point to justify that claim. Like nothing.
That's a really, really heinous accusation.
In these days,
Yeah,
especially when people are...
That's like a kill shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you think about it in that crowd, it's like the mortal sin because they're anti-capitalist and they're anti-colonial. So, like that's like that, or anti-imperialist, whatever you want to call it. So like those are their two foundational principles. And so this kind of combines both of those things. So like we're corruptly influenced by money to be silent about a genocide. And so I can't think of there's only a few things that you could be accused of in the space that would be worse than that. And he just did it so casually, based on nothing.
Casually slandering people based on nothing. Yep, that sounds like Hassan right there. It's just hilarious seeing this happen to people other than the usual suspects, right? Usually it's like Asmongold who has to deal with this, like, oh yeah, another slanderous statement, well, another Saturday here. But now it's happening to people who are very firmly pushing, a lefty politics. And, it's just confusing to them because they thought they were on the same side. Like, why are you attacking me? I'm your friend. But no, you can never befriend these people. They are just too crazy. Hassan's going after Ethan and his wife and now Hutch and all these other lefty creators as well. The thing is, you might agree on a few things, but that's how they lure you in. They start with the, I support gay people. Oh, goody, we are friends. We have the same opinion. Oh, also, I support terrorists. Wait a minute, what the fuck? What did you just say? That's a pretty big leap there, buddy. What the hell just happened there? It's like the difference between progressive and then psycho ultra omega progressive, to the point where you're no different from like far right Nazis, right? Then they talk about Hassan's cult-like audience.
Yeah, he's conditioned his audience to kind of just uncritically accept whatever he says, and it's really helped him kind of skirt any criticism and really just to level the most defamatory and just malicious claims against his perceived political opponents. I mean, they claim that I'm a Destiny orbiter, and I've never even spoken to him. I don't even fucking know the guy. And I'm a Destiny orbiter. Meanwhile, we got Hassan on the record saying shit like this.
If Destiny was my roommate, I'd get him laid all the time.
Before all of this, like people would call me ugly, a skeleton, whatever. I could handle that. I had no problem with those things. It was funny to me. But nowadays, it's resorted to like calling me a terrorist, a valid target,
Baby killer.
a baby killer.
Yeah.
And it all originated from us just not fully agreeing to the 1000% on all points.
Yep, absolutely nailed it there. Again, nobody is too concerned about the petty insults. You know, everybody throws those around a little bit. Hassan makes fun of people, you make fun of them back, and then they start crying, is what it is. But the thing about those insults is you can actually just laugh it off, even if it's mean-spirited or whatever. It's like high school insults. But when it starts getting real and you start calling people baby killers and terrorists based on actual complete lies, that's when it's just not fair, you know? You're just completely lying out of your ass with zero evidence. And again, whenever I call Hassan a terrorist supporter, I have given plenty of examples, all right? And that is like a label he seems to proudly wear, right? But when Hassan says like Hila is a valid military target, even if you take all of the context, oh, he was talking about a war, but then he flips to the present, calling her a wife of your favorite podcaster, it's just confusing for the average psycho in the Hassan audience. They probably think, okay, my Lord and Savior Hassan is saying she's a valid military target. If I eliminate this terrorist, I'm obviously a good person, right? So they will justify it using that insane logic, and it's just not okay. Then he talks about the inconsistencies in Hassan's logic.
The fact that he acknowledges in the same breath that they approached him to collaborate, I think that shows you right there that it's not a misunderstanding. He's maliciously lying, obviously, because if PV was this super Zionist organization, then they obviously would not be trying to collaborate with him.
Yeah, of course.
It just makes no fucking sense. It really does bother me when people are accusing me of something that corrupt. Like that's profoundly upsetting. And I think like for someone that has his size of an audience to do something like that so casually is crazy. Talk about corruption. Talk about being corrupted with power.
Right.
To weaponize your own audience in that way is just one of the most reprehensible things that you can do.
I mean, welcome to the club. You have now officially experienced the Hassan Piker special. And I'm not talking about what Dan Clancy experiences, but hope you enjoyed your stay at the Hassan Hotel of Bullshit. There is no logic here. There is no proof needed. If Hassan says it, it must be true. That is simply how a cult operates. Also, obviously, the Hassan logic makes no sense. Okay, so the organization was so Zionist, they tried to recruit Hassan Piker. Yeah, man, that makes a lot of sense. In what universe would that ever be a good idea, recruiting someone with the entirely opposite ideology? Hassan can't even stand by his own logic. It's just embarrassing. So then he talks about MAGA people versus Hassan's group of people, and he says the harassment from Hassan's side is worse.
They really will purity test you into oblivion. And then once they decide you're their enemy, those people are way more vicious than MAGA. I used to spar with MAGA for years. And that was bad. You know, I had people, typing some really crazy messages to me. But that crowd, when they decide that you're on their enemy list, bro, they go so far above what MAGA does.
They will knowingly lie, but it's in their mind a righteous to do so because you're destroying your opponent. And so even and your opponent is so evil, is such a huge obstacle to the greater good that you can say anything about them to smear them.
Okay, so when a firm lefty says that MAGA is actually better than Hassan's group, they legitimately have lesser harassment, that's when you know you actually fucked up so bad. And honestly, what can you expect from a bunch of terrorist dick riders? Like, are we surprised that he would lie, slander, or dox people? This guy's okay with the absolute worst atrocities committed by the scum of the earth, objectively some of the worst people on the planet. Obviously, this doesn't even compare. This is child's play to him. He's not gonna give a frick about this. Now click this video or a deranged Hassan fan shows up at your door at 3 a.m. and, says hi. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.